Good day, citizens and inhabitants of Edo State. We are seated and gathered here under an umbrella body, the movement for Peaceful Edo. We are seated today to deliver this press release by reason of the recent activities that has been happening in our dear states. Hence, I would read what we are prepared for this release today. The Peaceful Edo Initiative is a movement committed to restoring and promoting lasting peace in Edo State. Rising levels of insecurity and unrest have made this effort more urgent than ever. Edo people have a long history of living in peace and unity, but unfortunately, that harmony is now being threatened by the rise of cult-related violence, police brutality, and other harmful activities. These issues have set the state back in many ways, and we must address this. As a body committed to promoting sustainable peace in the state, it has become imperative that we address these two concerns: insecurity fueled by cultism and insecurity fueled by some security personnel. As the unprofitable business of cultism began to gain widespread across the state gradually began to dive into unrest. We have lost so much and benefited nothing from cultism. Families have lost loved ones. Young talents have been buried before their time. Cultism has offered no benefits, only destruction. Great talent has gone down 6 feet. Families have lost breadwinners. Mothers and fathers have lost their only child as a result of cultism. The list is endless. The only contribution cultism has brought to the state is unrest and sorrows to families. Cultism has done no good but harm. I would want us to reflect on these questions. What good has cultism done for me? Would I want my child to be involved in cultism? The scriptures, which is the only book, it has said, "There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof is destruction." That warning clearly speaks to the part of cultism, I think. It is disheartening that while others are celebrating progress, innovation, and development, some individuals are proudly promoting violence and criminality. This must stop. Edo State cannot continue to be tarnished by these actions. We sincerely appreciate the effort of the state government and the royal palace in combating cultism and restoring order. But more must be done. We call on all Edo indigenes, both at home and abroad, as well as non-indigenes residing in the state and other stakeholders, to join us in this vital movement for peace and development. While we commend the dedicated police officers working to keep us safe, we also strongly condemn the misconduct and abuse by some officers. The excessive harassment of young persons by police in Edo State has become alarming. Complaints, many with video evidence, continue to rise, yet little or nothing is being done. Those who are meant to protect us are now our prosecutors. The people have lost trust in this very institution meant to protect them. That trust must be rebuilt and restored. We call on the governor of Edo State and the commissioner of police to urgently review and conduct operations of police officers across the state. Let us all, citizens, government, and civil society, join hands with the movement for Peaceful Edo. Together, we can achieve lasting peace and build a better Edo State. In conclusion, the future of Edo State lies in our collective hands. We cannot afford to be silent or indifferent while violence, fear, and injustice threaten our communities. Now is the time to choose peace over conflicts, unity over division, and progress over setbacks. By standing together through this initiative, we can create a safer, stronger, and more prosperous Edo State for ourselves and even generations to come. Thank you for your time and support. Long live the peaceful Edo movement. Long live our dear state, Edo State. And long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this message is from our convener, Comrade Aredo Gifte. Thank you.
By name Abdul Kodri Abudai. This initiative of ours, I am part of it and I believe in it. It will be a very good initiative that will help us to restore peace. One, we are trying to educate the citizens residing in Edo, and also we are trying to educate the institutions that are already established by the government, which are supposed to help us ensure that there's peace and order in all nooks and crannies of the state. And also, there is one thing to say that the well-being of an individual. When you look at the word well-being of an individual, it's a complex word. Well-being means being in a state where you know you're absolutely okay. Being in a state where you know your mind is absolutely at peace. Being in a state where you know that you are not to be intimidated, or you are not anticipating any kind of intimidation from the vicinity in which you find yourself. What does that in a nutshell? That means having absolute rest of mind, doing peacefully your own business. And any individual that live in the phobia of the fact that probably an unrest may actually struck him in any place he find himself in Edo State, by default, what I would interpret that to be will be that, first of all, the individuals or the institutions that are designed or already established to ensure that there's this well-being. I would just say, is it that there's a weakness on their part, or a lot of other youths or other persons in Edo, which are actually perpetrators of crimes, are not well aware of the fact that there is need for them to be this, or they are not well aware of the fact that there is need for them, or they are even brainwashed. Because some persons are actually brainwashed into committing crime. Some persons are actually brainwashed into committing also vices that are criminally implicated. But this our movement, what we are into is to ensure that people are educated, people are enlightened, people are made to understand the reason why they need to coexist in peace and actually live. And people also make to understand the advantage, importance of having a peaceful atmosphere. And in all back, we are actually employing the government to join us to ensure that this our campaign becomes a thing that will thrive in Edo State, because a peaceful atmosphere actually give room for economic to go. No businessman, no human being, no matter how small, will be able to effectively increase economic value without peace. When you know that you are in a peaceful atmosphere, you can simply be going about your way to go to the farm, to go on a farm, knowing fully well you will not be kidnapped. If you know that there is peace, you can simply go to your job place and go and do it peacefully, knowing fully well that you will not be traumatized and your well-being will not be distorted. But a scenario whereby all of these are not in place, automatically we'll say we're having serious arrests. And that is the campaign we are trying to, that is what we are trying to campaign against, and ensure that there is peace, and ensure that families are happy, ensure that individuals going about their daily engagement are okay, and ensure that the institutions that are supposed to actually foster this whole process of peace, ensure that they are actually at their heel, doing their job in the best of their parties. So for me, I would say with this, let the government, let all other well-meaning individuals join us to foster this whole idea and ensure that the movement of Peaceful Edo is an emblem in a new state when it comes to matters concerning peace. Thank you very much. I remember myself, Abdullahi Ordering.
Of your many respects, you're married, an Edo child from Edo State, and I represent the voice of every Edo girl and every Edo boy in Edo State. I think that one of the issue we have in Edo State is an issue of insecurity, ranging from cultism, from police brutality, ritualist activities in Edo State, and this has actually led to a lot of damages that we face today. But one thing I think that can help us as a state is the role of families in this situation. Families play a crucial role, and I think that this cultist came from a home. This police people we are talking about, they came from a home. If we can actually tackle it from the grassroots, which is the families, I think that Edo will become better. There were times in Edo State where we could sleep outside. Growing up in Edo State, I would literally take my things outside, sleep outside till morning, probably because of it. And at the end of the day, seeing that our children are not privileged to enjoy this security that we're talking about is really alarming. And I don't think it's something we'll see for the next future generation. If Edo State is peaceful, it has to start from the family. And I think that the family has its role to play, the mother, the father, and the children. Because if a cultist is killed today, it's not just him being killed, it affects the home. It affects the siblings, it affects the mother, and it affects the father. And if a policeman should brutalize a child today, it affects everybody. They say the family is the smallest unit in the society. And if this is happening to every family, that means in 10 years' time, we might not have any youths in any home.